month of the year 2025. Always a pleasure to welcome you to Iron Port. Iron Port is brought to you by Ghana Revenue Authority, Gold PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, BNFT. Get the Thursday edition of the BNFT newspaper for more in case you miss anything this evening on the show. Remember, you can also join us live at all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we're streaming live at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, also at the Port of Tema, and on YouTube, we're streaming live at Iron Port. Remember, you also get the opportunity to actually interact with us via our dedicated WhatsApp line. It's 0538 037 353, 0538 03 7353. We will also open the phone lines in the course of the show for you to make your contributions towards the discussion. So grab your phones and let's get interactive. I will introduce to you my guests shortly, who are well vexed in today's topic, shortly after this break.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefi. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating great opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back to Iron Pot. It's brought to you by GPHA, and I've mentioned GRA and our other supporters. Thank you very much for supporting this show. Time now to update you on happenings at the port and the maritime industry throughout the week. Stay.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and the Ghana Shippers Authority have reaffirmed their commitment to collaborate in a bid to reduce the cost of doing business at Ghana's ports. This initiative aims to enhance the efficiency and attractiveness of the ports to both local and transit customers, ultimately fostering socio-economic growth in line with the government's economic reset agenda. This commitment was highlighted during a working visit by the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ramsford-Jampo, to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to interact with the Director General of GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya-Kulono, and his management team on issues of mutual interest and strategic approaches to minimizing the cost of doing business at Ghana's ports. The engagement afforded the two heads the opportunity to deliberate on issues affecting the attractiveness of Ghana's ports and the huge role it plays in the nation's maritime industry. During the discussions, Professor Jampo emphasized the need for both institutions to identify operational bottlenecks and implement sustainable solutions to mitigate delays. He noted that seeming inefficiencies in the system often lead to additional costs for importers, which are ultimately transferred to consumers.
I went about visiting various stakeholders. One thing that was coming out there was the cost of doing business that is so high.
In his response, the DG for GPHA, Brigadier General Tanya-Kulono, reiterated his earlier call on the Transport Minister to assist in the elimination of VAT and COVID-19 taxes from transit goods, as well as certain taxes on transshipment goods. The GPHA DG reaffirmed his faith in the government's resolve to boost the 24-hour economy and said he was hopeful that such taxes would eventually be removed by the government to ensure the swift clearance of goods at the port to alleviate the financial burden on importers.
When the minister came, he spoke that those bills will be cancelled. So I think we should look at the interests of the country and then why are we even working? So that at the end of the day, we'll work together.
He called for frequent meetings by the two institutions on practical ways of making Ghana's ports attractive to support the government's 24-hour economy and job creation agenda. The collaboration between GPHA and GSA marks a significant step towards making Ghana's ports more competitive within the sub-region, supporting trade facilitation and contributing to national economic growth. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority remains committed to equipping its personnel with the knowledge and skills needed to navigate the dynamic landscape of international trade and port management. As part of this commitment, the authority continues to invest in the UNCTAD Trainfortrade program, a globally recognized capacity-building initiative aimed at preparing future port managers to tackle emerging challenges in the maritime industry with sustainable solutions. This year, 14 GPHA staff and 1 Ghana Shippers Authority staff have successfully completed the Module 2 out of the 8 training modules, building on the impressive number of employees of the authority to participate in the UNCTAD Trainfortrade program over the years. Speaking on behalf of the General Manager Administration during the opening ceremony of the week-long program, Deputy Human Resource Manager at GPHA, Solomon Sakite, said the authority places premium on continuous training in a bid to maintain an excellent succession culture.
The future of the ports lies in the hands of the people that are congregated here. Because in the next 10, 15 years to come, these are the people who will be the decision makers as to the strategic future movement of the port. The people you see behind you will not be in decision making. And it is important that management must demonstrate its commitment to strategically position people who are beneficiaries of this course so that they'll be able to contribute to the knowledge acquired in this program.
UNCTAD expert Fergus William Britton said the UNCTAD Trainfortrade program will position participants to fill in senior management roles where there is need.
It's extremely important. It allows the participants to develop their knowledge and critically their strategic thinking to enable them to be more efficient and also to develop their management skills at a very high level, so to make them fitting to be senior managers in the ports in the future.
A few participants shared their experiences.
The port has evolved, all around the world, and so taking this course will give us the opportunity to learn more about what the new trends are, so we can help build up the port to where we want it to be.
We've always thought that the port is for operations, and they are the ones to know more when it comes to UNCTAD. But I believe as an engineer, there's a lot to know so that I can relate more and much better with how operations go as far as the port operations is concerned.
The UNCTAD Trainfortrade program, with its focus on digital innovation, policy development, and knowledge networks, continues to strengthen the competencies of port professionals worldwide.
And those were some happenings at the port and the maritime industry. And as always, in our quest to continuously educate you on what happens at the port, we always bring you a phrase or a word from the ports for you to understand some of the jargons we use there. Today's phrase is turning circle. Turning circle.
In the outer harbour, the turning circle allows vessels to stop and maneuver while waiting for tug assistance to berth. It has a diameter equal to 2 or 4 times the length of the largest vessel.
Time now for our health and safety tip, and today it's a handling of dangerous goods.
Handling of dangerous goods. Adequate controls over the entry, presence, and consequential handling of all types of dangerous goods should be in place for the safety of port workers.
So welcome back to this special edition of Eye on Port, and as always, Eye on Port is powered by GPHA, and as I welcome you back, let me take the opportunity to wish women all over the world International Women's Day. As you know, yesterday was International Women's Day, and it is our continuous celebration of women out there who are helping us, breeze the trail. Today, we shine the spotlight on the remarkable women who are driving change and breaking barriers in Ghana's maritime industry, exploring the experiences, insights, and the perspective of these trailblazing women while discovering how they are accelerating action and also driving positive change in the industry. Now, before I introduce my guests who are also making women proud out there, I want us to tap into some experiences of women who are rubbing shoulders with the men in the maritime industry. That is traditionally a male-dominated area. From the docks to the boardrooms, women are taking on leadership roles, pushing boundaries and contributing to the growth and development of Ghana's maritime sector. Listen.
In an industry male-dominated by tradition, a new generation of women are reshaping Ghana's maritime landscape. At this year's International Women's Day, we celebrate those who aren't just participating, they are driving change. Welcome to Accelerate Action, Women Driving Change in Ghana's Maritime Industry. Meet Elizabeth Apana, one of the youngest maritime mechanics in Ghana a true prodigy whose natural curiosity sets her on the path to engineering. From an early age, Elizabeth's passion for understanding how things work propelled her into a field traditionally dominated by men.
Yes, at the time I was considering marine engineering, there weren't many. Personally, I didn't know any female engineer, not even marine engineer. I didn't know any female engineers. I would say my dad. So I used to be very inquisitive as a kid. And I remember every question I asked my dad, mostly about his car. And then one thing he used to tell me is, when you become an engineer, you would know. So from an early age, I had this mindset that engineers have answers to everything. So that piqued my interest in pursuing engineering. But specifically in marine engineering, that came from my uncle. He's a marine engineer in the US Navy. And he also attended RMU. So after school, when I heard he went through that system, I wanted to also tour that route. So that inspired me to go to RMU and pursue marine engineering.
Her determination and youthful energy serve as a beacon of hope, proving that age is no barrier when passion meets perseverance.
One major challenge that I'm not shy to admit is physical endurance. Physically, I have the stamina, I have the endurance, but you know, our job is very demanding physical-wise. So there are even some tasks that can overpower a woman. So yeah, it's a major challenge the women face here. For example, heavy lifting. If we have to convey some equipment to a different location to start working on it, or we have to loosen some bolts and nuts that has been machine tightened. That requires a lot of torque to actually turn it. And if you don't have the torque wrench readily available, you have to try and use your manpower. That can be a major challenge for the women. So when it comes to that, we usually take a step back.
At Meridian Port Services Terminal 3, Mavis Chochoboy, also among the younger generation in her field, brings a refreshing dynamism to the operation of rubber tie gantry cranes. Her journey began soon after the first phase of the Port of Tema's expansion, a period of rapid change and opportunity.
So one of the challenges I faced was when we were employed, and as a lady, some of the men looked down on us. They thought we couldn't do it, but to me, I proved myself. That was when the first test vessel came. I was on the cranes with a lot of men, and then after the operations, I was the one that was recommended to be someone who did very well. So that encouraged me a lot, and I had the zeal to do this.
Mavis's story highlights not only her technical skill, but also the impressive potential of young women in maritime operations, proving that women can take on technically and physically demanding tasks.
So what I have to tell them young ladies who want to pursue this career is that it's a very challenging job, but then it's rewarding field. So I'll urge each and every woman who is interested in doing this is to focus on their skills and developing them. Also, if possible, they can seek for mentorship to guide them. One has to have the ability to work at height, and also you need to have the ability to follow protocols, have good communication skills and teamwork.
Now meet Denise Bedu, the trailblazing representative in Ghana for the Burkina Faso Shippers Council, the first woman to hold this prestigious position. Speaking in French with impeccable clarity, Denise's career has evolved organically through numerous managerial and technical leadership roles, yet she gave all glory to God's grace.
Ma carrière a été à la fois riche et pleine d'expériences, avec beaucoup de défis qu'il fallait relever et continuer. J'ai occupé beaucoup de postes de responsabilité au niveau managérial et technique, Et j'ai toujours eu l'appréciation de mes supérieurs qui m'ont toujours vu travailler et qui ont toujours placé leur confiance en moi. L'occupation de ce poste de premier représentant du CBC est le fruit de plusieurs années de travail et la volonté des autorités burkinabées de promouvoir la gente féminine en plaçant leur confiance en moi. C'est donc un honneur et à la fois des défis que je dois relever.
Her message is clear. To accelerate action in the trade sector, we must invest in capacity building and empower women entrepreneurs, ensuring that ambition and excellence drive our collective progress.
La participation des femmes au commerce transfrontalier est vivement à encourager. Il y a beaucoup d'actions qui doivent être faites au niveau non seulement des femmes, mais aussi au niveau des autorités des pays. Il y a notamment la réduction des procédures administratives pour le commerce transfrontalier, le renforcement des capacités techniques des femmes pour la gestion des entreprises. Il y a également la prise en compte des préoccupations des femmes au niveau de la politique gouvernementale.
Rounding up our feature is Josephine Ofori, a fearless entrepreneur who transformed her career from working under a shipping line to establishing her own freight forwarding business, ACL in Tema, for 12 years. Her company has thrived, setting a benchmark for excellence in the industry.
Whilst I was working with the shipping line, I saw the way I was in charge of exports. I was the export manager with that particular shipping line, which I may not want to mention the name now. And I saw the way things were going and I developed interest into the freight forwarding work. So I decided to open a company myself, did it alongside with my office work for over 10 years. Then I decided, no, I am tired as a woman. Combining these two with my motherhood work is not going to be possible. I decided to just leave the shipping line and move on full time, as that is where my interest is. I want to challenge the men.
And are you satisfied with that decision, looking back, that you made the right decision?
Very satisfied, 100% satisfied. I really enjoy what I do.
Josephine's journey embodies the essence of leadership, demonstrating that persistence and vision can overcome even the most daunting obstacles.
We face a lot of challenges as women in this industry. We go to shipping lines, we go to terminals, sea officers, terminal operators. They decide to intimidate us because we are women. They are not ready to listen to us at times. Men will do it the harsh way, but we women will be soft in talking to them, which at times makes them overrule us with the way they talk to us, the way they receive us. It's a whole lot of challenges that they make us go through.
And how have you been able to navigate that?
Oh, anyway, some of us have been able to convince them, try to do our best, try to let them understand that we know what we are doing. At times they feel, oh, this is a woman, and then the woman, no, this is not where you are supposed to be, you don't belong here. But we make them understand that, no, what men can do, we women can also do that.
Each of these stories is a call to action, a reminder that women in Ghana's maritime industry are not just breaking barriers, they are accelerating change. With improved legal frameworks, better infrastructure and enhanced capacity building, the future is bright. On this International Women's Day, let's celebrate, accelerate action, and empower every woman to chart her own course. Join us as we drive change, because when women succeed, we all set sail for a better tomorrow.
And those were some heartwarming stories coming from some strong women making it big in a male-dominated environment. And of course, in the studio, I have some two tough women who would also be helping with today's discussion. But before that, Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority this week, as part of his familiarization tour, visited some of the terminals at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. And guess what? All the terminals he visited were manned by women. Just take a look at what happened this week.
That's the state warehouse where seizure items are kept. That is completely for customers.
Kajayi kushima yino wali me kona me waja shong so Timbuktu Ghana Mali Sumanguru yino waja shong waja waja shong so Timbuktu Ghana Mali Sumanguru yino waja shong Manchester ki yino Sumanguru yino waja waja shong Ose tutu yino Wamransan yino Yasantwa yino waja shong Kaja Israel kaba Egypt kaja Ethiopia ke Sudan waja shong Akwaka bajimo wanye ya fokelacha Akachimo wanye anu nyamfeng Akwaka bajimo wanye ya fokelacha Akachimo wanye anu nyamfeng Ameke minyang matu Ameke onyang motu Ameke wanyang watumo Ameke minyang matu Ameke onyang motu Ameke wanyang watumo Ameke wanyang watumo Wina tata ikachimo wake wabanye Kaya jenjen sani mwabawa 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 Akwaka bachimo wanye ya fokelacha Akachimo wanye anu nyamfeng
My humble recommendation is that, the last time we did the presentation, we always talked about the new terminal. I would humbly suggest that if we can take Mali, Niger, and then the other countries can dedicate this one to the office.
Who makes you are discriminating like this?
No, I'm looking at the volumes, and then the volumes will also determine on the number of boxes that will be transferred from the port to that stretch.
When we get there, which machine do we use?
By then, before we can do that, we need to build the machines, everything dedicated. Because the machines
cannot shut.
Go in and coming back. We don't even have enough yet. And then equipment still remains in challenge.
offer her refrigerated couch. Okay. And so I don't know if you want to see or you go through the offices. But basically, our terminal is divided into two.
Your people
Yeah, in the offices.
They don't work at
They work. As of when they come, so we have position containers when the clients come. And then
so at this moment, there's no plan.
So they'll go through the documentation before. Through the offices.
Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Brigadier General Paul Seidu Tanya Kolonu, visiting some of the terminals as part of his familiarization tour of the port. Now, tonight, this evening, my guest, Gertrude Ohene Esieni, which is President of the Women's International Shipping and Trading Association, Ghana, and Maritime Education Specialist. Welcome. And happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much, Asha.
And
happy
also in the studio with
Women's
me
Day
is Captain Georgina Jopap. She's retired sea captain and maritime safety consultant who will share her journey as one of Ghana's pioneering female captains, and she would also be discussing maritime safety leadership and challenges women face at sea. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, my dear.
Tonight, I'm going to carry away a bag of experience. Welcome,
so
ladies, and happy International Women's Day to you, Captain.
You, my dear.
Shall we start by you actually letting us into your journey on the sea?
Basically, I've always said it was, first of all, I went to sea because there was an affirmative action request. My later part of A-level, coming to the end of A-level, and then as a science student, there was an advert in the dailies then, somewhere in the 76, requesting or inquiring that young science ladies can also apply for the entrance exams to the Nautical College.
Okay.
And for me, it was a big thing because I was a science student. It was first of its kind, and I had my friends, I had my teachers and the family all encouraging me because I was the only science girl in my class at that time.
Brilliant girl.
Then, although initially we had some reservation, we came to a conclusion as a family that, okay, you go. You're so young. If it doesn't work out, you can always come back and enter into the university. So that was exactly what happened. Again, I also grew up in secondary, I went to Seko. My school was closer to the sea. You could always see ships in the harbor and everything. But I had no inclination of going to sea because it was then a male-dominated job.
area.
It had nothing to do with females. But the challenge, when the advert was made, and the challenge that it was a pioneering position for young ladies, and we were going to break barrier, and I looked at breaking, the ceiling, the glass ceiling and all that, and the extra confidence. And again, at our time, when you said you were a science student, in a female science, you have some
swag that comes with it.
Okay. So that alone was enough to, and fortunately, I applied, had a written exam, passed, and I was admitted into the Nautical College.
Okay.
So, and at the Nautical College, like I said, because again, I always tell people I grew up with male cousins, siblings who were male. I grew up with male colleagues from class 1, just throughout school.
Okay.
You went to a male school. So
you were
there was
among
nothing, and
guys.
You see, those things, you are not very aware that they were character builders.
Shaping you, yeah.
And building you up. You were never aware of that. But then you grew up and you found out that they were all your colleagues, and therefore you could be able to do what they do. You were in the same class with them, and you were not the last, but most of the time, most of the young, at that age, girls were usually even more intelligent and brighter in class than the boys. So you had it. You also had your space. When if anyone wanted to be in your face, you could fight him and beat him up. So you already had that attitude of not being, you were not a tomboy, but what I mean is you asserted yourself. They couldn't intimidate you, and you had the advantage of being intelligent. So that alone puts you in a position. That one. Then on the ship itself, I always tell people that the ship was more of a continuation of a boarding school at that time, because it was a training ship. So it was just a continuation of a boarding school. Fortunately for me, again, I had most of the people on the ship I knew from secondary Takoradi schools. In secondary Takoradi schools, we had clusters of schools. So if you were in saving classes, you knew almost everybody in other school who is a classes student. So we had that flair. So when I went on the ship, I had a lot of cadets and officers who were from my school, secondary college, GSCS, St. John's, already from secondary Takoradi. So it wasn't, I didn't find myself in a vacuum or in a strange place. They were there for me as well. So that also made it easier to work. And they encouraged me, again, they also encouraged me and said, oh, Mommy, you can do it. You should be able to do it. Those were some of the things. And getting to port, when you ever got to port, for example, the first time you got to port, say in Hamburg, where in Germany, where you had the media coming in and say, oh, there are girls, young girls on the ship. And the media were making, there was no social media though, but the real
traditional
media who came there, took photographs of you, asked questions, had interview. So the same thing happened when we also went to America and the UK, and everybody. So you found that there was some little pride as well as you understand me. There was some little pride in you and the assurance or the challenge that you have to succeed, because almost all of these people were looking out for you to be able to succeed. So those were some of the things that actually encourage you to be on board the ship. But that's it. But for the whole journey, working on the ship, I have a friend who also says, when Georgina is in coma and you call her to talk about the ship, she will wake up.
I think if we start now, we'll finish tomorrow. But of course, we'll be getting bits and pieces.
So that's it.
Pieces of it throughout the show.
Thank you.
But it's good that you've set the tone for us as a woman going to sea, not being intimidated by the men. I am so encouraged. And of course, like I said, there's a bag of experiences I'm going to carry away from this show. But let me come to you and discuss the role of women in Ghana's maritime industry. I mean, generally, what's the role?
Thank you, Aisha. Greetings to all ladies. Yesterday was International Women's Day, and it was our day. And we're continuing the show because we are women. And greetings to all the Maritime Ladies Association at the Regional Maritime University and WISTA Ladies and other women associations. So thank you for the question. I think women play a key role in the maritime industry. I was elated with the video you just played to see women, all terminals at the GPHA port being manned by women. That's a great achievement for us.
Interesting.
Years ago, you wouldn't find that. It was also a great joy to see women operating cranes at MPS. and women doing mechanical jobs at the port. These were, I was just smiling to myself. And we don't even need to look further. We have one sitting right here in the studio.
Of course.
Captain Georgina Jopa. We've had Madam Beatrice Womawo, who was the first ship captain on the Black Star Line. We had Captain Hazel. We've had Captain Hannah. These are women who inspire us. Coming back home, we have Mrs. Sandra Opoku, the first director for Tema Port. We had Mrs. Benenrita Bismarck, the first female CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, and many others. And to come to myself, I'm the first female charter shipbroker in West Africa.
Wow.
The first female to head an institution that has existed for over 100 years as the membership committee chair. That's the Institute of Charter Shipbrokers.
Congratulations.
The first female from the world to be a membership committee chair.
That's a great achievement.
Exactly. There are so many women who are doing great things in our space. And even our market women are doing great without them going for food and bringing them for us. If you see what these women go through, most of the things we are bringing into the country are being spearheaded by women. And you see women not sleeping, waking up at dawn, sitting on trucks, going to Burkina Faso to bring tomatoes, onions, and everything for us. We need to applaud ourselves because this is a great achievement for our mothers, for ourselves, and for the younger generation to be inspired about what women are doing, changing the narratives. We've had pilots at the port who are females and women, and this is a great inspiration. Great inspiration for us.
Great inspiration. Captain, how has it evolved over the period? You just shared some experience with us. During your time, people were actually scared to venture into that arena. But from your time till now, how has it evolved?
Relatively, there has been a lot of inclusivity in the maritime industry for women. And younger ladies have been recruited at the maritime institutions. There's a challenge for them to do better. And it's also because we are having more men going into the sciences as well, and technical vocations. We've also had women, now a lot of women, being mentors or role models for the younger students all over the country. Again, parents have come to the realization that their daughters could do any work or go into any career that they have to go. And so there's this push for young ladies to excel. Again, we also have the social media that girls who have not even traveled outside the country can see, go into it and are able to assert themselves, be able to know that I can do this or this or that. There are so many other opportunities as well available to them, which initially during our time we were not even aware they existed, even though they were. There have also been a lot of affirmative actions that have been taken and policies that have also encouraged younger women, not only in the maritime industry, but in almost all the fields in the job areas that we have, be it CEOs, be it owning their companies, be even designers and all those things. Now people really want, like having our first vice president as a woman, even being a woman in Ghana. It couldn't have been, nobody could think of it even about yesterday. But here we are, today and tomorrow we are all going to say we've had broken up. So we have all these activities. That is what has actually brought up the increase and awareness for young ladies to venture into male nomination jobs. Again, most of the young ladies have also, I always say, have parents or relationships who are enlightened and therefore support them, to be able to, because there were times that when you even took a job, another family member could come in and say, no, girls cannot go and do, you cannot go and do this. But here we have strong, and again, Ghana by itself, Ghana as a country, traditionally have strong women. It is the women who do most of the things in our country.
Of course.
Except that we have, in quotes, the male dominance where they say a woman should do that in a man job. But for me, I've always said one thing again, come to believe it, that the only specific job for a man, stated everywhere, that a woman cannot do, is to be a husband and a father.
Okay.
That is it.
Aside that.
All other jobs, any job.
We can do.
No, any other job. If a lady, a young person wants it as a career and as a profession, should be able to take it up.
Yep.
And thrive well in it. Just set up, have a good mindset, just be ambitious, just learn the trade, just be, don't look at your gender. Just say that I am a CEO, not that I am Gertrude. I am a CEO. So when you sit at table with them, you sit at table as the job, as the title, and so for me, that's what I've always said. There's no job, the only job that is specific
is being a husband and a father.
Being a husband and a father. All other jobs.
That's very interesting. But of
From
course,
the moon, going to space,
on the
coming down.
surface, you see it's so beautiful. Women operating the cranes. All the machineries at the ports, making things happen. But of course, beneath that are a lot of challenges that we face. I'll still come back to you because you've been at sea, and then you mentioned, even we heard from one of the ladies in those documentaries who was saying that a lot of the times the men will try to intimidate you, but you need to be tough. I mean, what were some of the barriers, the challenges that you faced?
I said, okay, on the ship, like I said initially, I went to the ship more as a continuation of school. So I had this student attitude, fair attitude as a student on the ship. My colleagues, the difficult, when it came to the work itself, like navigation, it wasn't difficult for you. When it came to anything that was theory, it wasn't difficult for you. The only challenges probably that you had was when it was manual, real manual jobs, that you had to do. And even then, you had mechanical ways of doing it. Being scientific, having a scientific approach to the work you are doing, you should be able to, it gets it done. Again, challenges that you may have is isolation, not from the boys or from your colleagues. As for your colleagues, you have the same relationship. They are also isolated from their family, but you may have isolation. You may sometimes have emotional isolation that, oh, I've left things home. Where's my mom? And when you were younger, the only, again, like I said, the environment was a confined environment. Your classroom is a ship, and the environment was the sea, where you couldn't go out and jump into the sea and come back like you do ashore. However, there were opportunities on board the ship where you had entertainment, you had, you could create activities to forestall the isolation. If it was your birthday, you could say it's my birthday and everybody will support you. There will be something done for you. So we had a social life, especially on the training ship. The training ship, those things to be wrong, were taken care of. Physical, real challenges, having a male colleague molesting or assaulting you never happened. I've always said that, whether it was, never happened. Never ever happened, and that one I always go back to it. I think it was our attitude, it was our approach to things. So, and I wasn't even looking out for being intimidated. So it never happened. So and sometimes people ask me, so many people ask me that question. And I haven't had intimidation actually in real life on the ship or anything comes about not when you are a junior, but when you get to the top. As you get, to the top, like all hierarchies, when you get to the getting closer to the top, then you will get people, being able. Then that's when the gender issue and other things come in, and they think that why should a woman or a lady take that job? But even then, what you should do is you should be competent. That is it, be able to be competent. And when I say competent, I mean knowledge and skill. You should be very competent. You should be able, you don't have to force yourself, but you should be smarter than your male colleagues. You should be smarter than your male colleagues. And you should accept yourself not being rude. No, never rude. Have this network effect with them, fine, smile and everything, but know their limits. When you have that, you'll be able to. And most again, when you are juniors in any field, whether shape or anything, you see that your male colleagues even encourage and urge you, to excel. When you are in the same profession with male, so at the lower level, almost all of you, look at you being in the university, they will help you with your studies. Come and let's go and study, let's do our prep together. They will all encourage you. It's only the competition comes in, the challenges of the competition comes in only when you get to the top. And that is probably some of the challenges that you can have.
I mean, you put the nail right there. Even though we are happy that the women representation in, maritime industry has increased, and the women do not fear anymore to get into those domains, we definitely feel that we could do more, even better. If you look at other areas, in Parliament, we have women, but we're saying that we need more women in leadership positions. What really is the barrier in terms of male inclusion? All of this, what has been the barrier so that women are so scared to get into some of these areas, especially those that we call male-dominated?
Thank you for that. BIMCO did a survey in 2021, and it was realized that the challenges has to do with technical rules. So for instance, when you take vessels of seagoing, you have about 74,000 vessels with 1.89 million seafarers. Out of that, you have only 1.2% who are females. And these females are not even on the tankers and the dry bulks, they're on passenger ships. But a passenger ship is like a flotel, right? So there's a lot of job for stewards, cooks, and others, customer service, and others. So we realize that the challenge has to do with the technical rules and the harsh environments. Being at sea is a harsh environment. Madam Georgina said it's between you, the ship and the sea, right? And so how do you combine family, for instance, with work and be away so long? Because once you're on board a vessel, you're away from your children. You're away from your husband or your relations. So how are you going to blend that? Especially when you start having kids and they are young. So that has been some of the challenges. You also have how culturally, even in the house, you realize that when you have male children and females, you call them women to come and do the dishes, whilst the guys are in the room studying or researching and doing other things, playing games, So culturally, we have all contributed to the problem. And so you realize that at that age, the men tend to study more, have more time to themselves. And so the women shy away from the sciences and then the STEM subjects. So then that becomes a barrier, because most of these jobs we're talking about, if you want to do in marine engineering, naval architecture, and all these things, you need the science and the mathematics background, which then is not there. There's also been that most women are not at the top. So who are the role models to look up to? When you're growing up, you want to look up to people around you and be like them. So if you have teachers around, you also want to be a teacher. I love being a teacher. It's one of my professions, being a lecturer. But you usually would want to look up to people around you and you want to be like them. So the lesser women we have at the top, the less role models we have for younger women to aspire to be. And then the biases. So Madam Georgina mentioned, for instance, when you enter the lecture room to go and lecture and you enter the nautical science department or the marine engineering department, sometimes you are disheartening, only one woman is there. This time I have about 6 in my class, and I was so excited, that, this time I have 6 women in my class, and that was very interesting for me. But usually you have 1 or 2, and you have the men making fun of them. When I was country manager for oil and gas companies, you have people see Gertrude, but they write, "Dear Mr. Gertrude," that thing. Or you enter the meeting room and they ask you, "Are you the secretary to the CEO?" Because they feel that should be your role. You can't be at the top. You can't be the head of the company. So some of these stereotypes, uncommon and unintentional biases, and cultural, sometimes you want to venture into something and your parents or other people around you will even discourage you that this is a male-dominated area, you are a female, what are you going to do there? If you go there, how are you going to get pregnant? What are you going to do? We need grandchildren, this and that. These are all things that are a setback for women. And so we need to push to get some of these things out of the way, to be able to promote our women to do greater things.
It's quite interesting. I mean, when it comes to women, there's a lot, and we know that we are, bulldozers. I mean, that's what women are. We multitask, we do everything. But of course, these barriers are those that actually push us back, so we cannot actually challenge the men. But of course, there's a lot of improvement. When you listen to all the ladies that we documented, that means that we're doing really well. So this is Eye on Port, and it's powered by GPHA. If you just joined us, we're having a conversation about women, how women are actually pushing and rubbing shoulders with the men, especially at the maritime industry, and how we are changing the narrative. When I return from this break, we'll be looking at, we've already agreed on what the challenges are, but how do we address these challenges? We'll also be looking at how to push in a lot more young women to, orient them, to make them understand that there is more that they can do. And how do we even make this area or this environment much more interesting, attractive to women, so they can also venture in? All of this after this break.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back to Eye on Port. We are discussing women in the maritime industry. How are we making it happen, and how are we changing the narrative there? You are free to join the conversation with your comments, and the number to send your WhatsApp is 0538037353. 0538037353 is right on your screen. You can also join us with those comments, and it will be read right here. Let me come back to you, Gertrude. How is WISTA helping? And even before that, what are the barriers preventing young women from choosing careers in seafaring? Whilst we were on the break, we talked about seafaring, port operations, and even shipping. What are the barriers, holding them back in choosing those careers?
I think I began by talking about the working in harsh environments. These are areas where you need technical hands to do most of the work. And most young people these days want comfort. Some people have even said they don't want a job from 8 to 5 o'clock. They want to be able to work from home. They want to be able to have their own time. And some of these jobs, you have to be on site because you can't man a ship from the house. You want to operate a crane, you have to be there at the port, and many others. We are developing, automating, but we still need to be able to do some of the dirty work. And some of these women don't want to do the dirty work. They want the easy way out, to be a maritime lawyer, to be an administrator in an office, or to do all the nice things, marketing, dress well. They don't want to be in coveralls and others. It's also because, as I said, most of the time they have not had the opportunity of being guided. Career guidance has been lacking in most areas. Most of us, we knew that we wanted to be something, but what? What should you do? How do you get there? People to guide you, mentors to guide you, give you career guidance and others. Sometimes it's lacking. So a pure lack of understanding of what goes into it and what is required is very important. So most of these things, once we're able to put them in place, we'll be able to get most of these young women into such environments.
Okay.
And to address what WISTA is doing in this direction, WISTA collaborates, for instance, with the International Maritime Organization. We have a leaders accelerated program that trains about 10 young ladies worldwide. They've done about 3, it's called the LEAP program, about 3 of these programs where we've had some of our WISTA Ghana young ladies join these programs, where they go through about 8 weeks of training in modules that encourages you and trains you to be a leader. WISTA also does a lot of capacity building through our conferences, through our committees. We have an HR committee where they focus on things that pertain to women. I was happy to attend one for the older people. We were talking about, for instance, menopause. You don't have these things being talked about in so many areas, but you see things happening to you in your body and you don't understand. These are things. So the WISTA committees also have webinars to train us. For instance, we had one on presentation skills. Most people don't know how to do presentations. They will do PowerPoint presentations or stand in public speaking, and then you have so many verbose styles and not looking at people, eyeball. So presentation, that whilst we develop people for the technical, also the soft skills, it's very important. Personal branding and things that can make you a complete woman. We have the WISTA Diversity Committee as well, who's always championing the inclusion of women and being gender, having special needs of women being taken into consideration. So for instance, we have the Speaker Bureau with the IMO, where there's a special portal and a platform where every woman, depending on your capability, you can go and register, so that we are saying no to all male panels. That is WISTA stand. So you go to an oil and gas forum or a shipping forum, and all male panels, there's no female. So females with capabilities have registered on this database. If you are looking for people to represent on panels, you go on the database and you see the women, you see their capabilities, and you can select some to join on the panel. We also have the WISTA surveys that we do also in collaboration with the IMO, where they do the survey to know how many females are, for instance, in top positions in the world. And I think this year we're doing the survey again. WISTA and IMO is doing the survey again, where we get the statistics. Without the statistics, you wouldn't even know where we are going and where we've come from. So the statistics help to push these things. When you come to Ghana, for instance, we collaborate a lot with the MLA, that's the Maritime Ladies Association, by providing mentorship. Even on Friday, I was there with a team from MESC to go and talk to these ladies about what they can do whilst they're in school, prepare themselves and come out, and how they can occupy some of these top positions, where we had these ladies representing West Africa in their companies, sharing their experiences to motivate these ladies. We do career fairs, doing most of our trainings, and bring in high school children and talk to them about, catch them young. Mostly in Maritime, we don't trumpet the things we do. We hide. I think people in Maritime, we are very selfish. We keep a lot of the things to ourselves.
You're very conservative.
Very conservative, we don't share. So most people, I had to finish university before I knew there was a nautical college. Yes, I had finished my first degree, and I didn't know that there was anything called shipping. I had never dreamt about it. I had to come into shipping by accident, where a company was inviting bids for management trainees, and I happened to have applied. And then that's how I got into shipping. Otherwise, I do know that this is the sweetest job in the world, that you communicate and you communicate to the entire world. You take a phone and you are calling the entire world. You charter a ship and you have friends all over the world. There are so many diverse areas. So we haven't trumpeted these enough. And shipping is unique in its way, because there are so many specialized areas. Ship management, naval architecture, logistics coordination. There's no company, no agency, no organization that does not do logistics coordination, whether you are the UN or whatever. So we are at the heart of everything in your house. Everything that you have will have to come by something, either a ship. So we are coordinating all of these. So it is about putting the opportunities out there for these young women to be able to know that there are great opportunities in this industry. You can just be a chandler. You also just to supply food, stores, and other things to a ship or people, and these are massive opportunities. So it's about advocacy, I believe so, because most people are very gray when it comes to these areas. I remember I went to do a program at Accra Girls, and the headmistress said, the things people are talking about, I haven't heard about them before. It was strange to her. And so it means that we have to start, because there's nothing in our curriculum about shipping when you're young. So until you decide, and you see that if you study carefully, most people in shipping, it was their grandfather their grandmother, their brother,
So
their sister.
it's like
their
an inheritance.
Exactly, it's like an inheritance. Or you have to be at the seaside to be able to recognize the opportunities.
Something
But I
like
want to
that.
break those barriers.
Yeah.
I want to be able to make people understand that this is a career you can pursue. This is something that you can come in and is encouraging, is interesting, is rewarding as well. And there's so many opportunities and things you can specialize in and be able to make huge impact in the society.
So that's quite interesting. And whilst at it, one of the issues I believe will be a problem with for women who want to go to sea will be security issues. If you see, the first time I saw a pilot bringing a vessel, and I saw how he was climbing from the pilot boat onto the vessel, I was like, my goodness, is this how it is? So if I wanted to be a pilot, in fact, seeing that alone will scare me. What is the most critical security issue or safety issues in the maritime industry, and how do we address it?
Safety, and there's so much to it, but it starts from the training. Safety, security is not much. It doesn't belong to a man or a woman. It belongs to those who have set up their mind, have the mindset, the attitude, and the passion to go to sea. There's nothing like all safety procedures have been put in place, for the pilot that you were talking about.
Definitely.
But what we have again is that the ship itself is in a confined place. The environment is harsh, and therefore there's a risk of accidents. That one is there. But accidents do not happen. We cause them, meaning there's always a human factor. And for that human factor, you have to be taken off, means you have to have good training and competency. When Getty was talking about, she mentioned where that people didn't know about it because we only thought about artisans in the vocational schools. We didn't think of them as technical people. So it's only when you combine the technical side and the vocational side together, that's the lectures together, then you have that competency. Fortunately for us in Ghana, in West Africa, we have the Maritime University. It used to be Maritime Nautical College. It became Maritime Academy, and now it's the Maritime University. Initially, they had training vessels. After the school, you had to go on the training vessels. These days, it's not there. So most schools, like we are saying, institutions are using equipment like simulators to be able to train the people before they get to the ship. Again, these are very expensive equipments to have. So until we have real collaboration with the industry and the training institution, which we are very, very fortunate to have, then we'll be able to, have train and get competent people to man the industry. Again, we also sometimes comes in where the young ones, especially at sea, it's very difficult to attract them to do shore-based jobs. Though we have more shore-based jobs than we have on the ship. We have so much shore-based jobs. However, it is so difficult to, attract the younger people, the young seafarers from sea to come shore because of their remunerations that they get. And the Regional Maritime University and the Maritime Authority, especially the Ghana Maritime Authority, which has the regulatory body to manage and regulate all maritime safety activities in the country, especially in our territorial waters and in our coastal waters. That is the Maritime Authority's preview to be able to do that. They issue certifications and all that. Even the Maritime Authority itself must have personnel who have been trained and have that competency to man the Maritime Authority, and be able to also support the university to be. Now, the university used to be for only seafarers. That was when it was Nautical College. Then it became academy when you had to do the auxiliary maritime field jobs. Now we are doing the high, end maritime jobs, law, logistics, port operation, shipping, and a lot of all of them. And that is all being organized at the Maritime University now. But their problem or the challenge that they have now is equipment, insufficient equipment, modern equipment, and training facilities, as well as personnel, technical know-hows, who will be able to impart knowledge, who will be able to, because there are some of the subjects that are technical, and the technical thing is that you should only have been at sea
to be able to understand
and impact. Even the loading of the cargoes, the type of cargoes that you have, the balancing of the ship. She's talking about the logistics. You may even be on the ship and not do the logistics. But then the cargoes that you are having about millions worth of cargo. And you should be able to take them from A to B. Sometimes it's only water. You only have to have rain and you destroy every cargo. You even cause fire because you had water falling on some cargo.
Yeah.
You have frozen cargoes that you have to carry, and you should be able to regulate it. When we look at the maritime industry, it's fast. Even when we had these barges in Ghana, electricity production barges in Ghana, they were supposed to be manned by seafarers. It's not just the barge, because it is the same principle of work that they are doing. So they may be foreigners there, but then they are seafarers. So we have a whole lot of opportunities in the industry. Just like Gertrude said, people are not actually aware of it and cannot assess it.
And of course, some of these safety issues needs to be addressed if really we want to attract more people into that industry. Let me take a few of your comments on WhatsApp. And this is coming from Francis K. Boateng. He says, women are clearly excelling in maritime. Now companies must step up, better conditions, equal pay, leadership roles. #accelerate action. And Letitia Mensah says, love how this conversation is highlighting real solutions. More scholarships, mentorship, and funding for women in maritime. No excuses. Nakosia Bedu says, we need action beyond today. What commitments are shipping companies making to ensure women have equal career growth opportunities? And the last one will be from Kwesi Mensah, who says, Wista Ghana is doing great work, but we need more partnerships with shipping companies to push women into leadership roles. Our time is fast running. Let me give the last meet to you. All these issues we're talking about has to do with policies, policy initiatives, and that's why I want to find out from you what policy interventions you think will make maritime education more attractive and accessible to young women.
Expensive. Yeah.
Your microphone is off.
Sorry about that. As I was saying, funding is a challenge for younger people who want to go to school. Most of our universities, public universities, don't pay fees. When it comes to the maritime universities, people have to pay their fees and pay it in dollars. To train one cadet to be able to go on board a vessel is a huge sum of money. And so we need to look at funding issues. So, and even training in professional courses in shipping is very expensive. For instance, if you take the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers courses, is in pounds. To be able to finish writing your 7 subjects, to qualify to be a member, you would have spent a lot of money. So we need more scholarships. So for instance, with WISTA, we have a scholarship scheme with ICS, where every year they give 5 students, 5 people from the world, scholarships to study with a foundation diploma. For instance, WISTA again has signed an MOU with OTG. It's a capacity building firm, Ocean Technologies Worldwide, where they've offered 200 women free access to their online platform to train in so many subjects. I have even done anger management on that platform. And there are technical subjects there, there are soft skills there. So these are things that empower us. They are things that encourage us. So we need more scholarships. We need recognition for these young ones. So WISTA, for instance, again, this year, for instance, during the RMU graduation, we gave a citation to recognize the best female student for nautical science and for marine engineering. And that is to empower them, to encourage the women to be able to do more. So we need more collaborations with industry to come and support these women, give them scholarships. We also need a lot of mentorship programs. And all of these things are done by funding. So for instance, for WISTA, most of our funding comes from our 3 maritime agencies, the GPHA, GMA, and Shippers Authority. We want to say thank you to them for sponsoring our activities, for helping us. We need more to be able to help these women, to bring them up, to be able to train them so that they can have people to look up to and they can take up the challenge. So the callers or those who sent in the comments were on point about scholarships, about more collaboration, internships in companies, and more collaborations with other maritime organizations. So we are calling all the shipping companies to come on board, SWAG and other organizations, so that we can all together push our women and to thrive and
the agenda.
Accelerate action now.
Thank you very much. Gertrude Ohene Esiame, she is President, Women International Shipping and Trading Association, WISTA Ghana, and Captain Georgina Jopap is Maritime Safety and Security Consultant. I'm grateful for your time, for coming. That's all time will allow us, viewers, and thanks so much for watching. Iron Port is brought to you by GPHA, and time is far running. I can't mention all our sponsors: GRA, Goil PLC, Serene Insurance,